An excerpt from my novel, The Curse of Beckett's Wood, written under my pen name of R.E. Witham. Part 2, Chapter 2, Lost and Found. I'd never realised how tall the building had been, and it had been made to seem even taller. It was the style of its construction. Everything was made to rise ever upwards. Window columns, arches, even the 4 pinnacles on the corners of the tower groped the sky to reach up to God. We passed the main door, an impenetrable slab of heavy dark brown oak laced with ornate ironwork, and made for the side entrance, entering into a world of echoes. The sound of our footsteps filled the great interior, mingling with the noise of excited boys that were congregated in a group at the end of the church. Its inside was big enough to accommodate our flat many times over, and slender stone pillars that rose majestically upwards supported the most ornate ceiling I'd ever seen, high above my head. I couldn't take it all in, and in any case my attention was interrupted by 3 rapid handclaps made by a thin man who appeared from nowhere. The sound of this call to order was still rebounding around the walls as we approached the wooden screen that separated the main body of the church from the smaller area where the boys were. "Ah, Mr. Crabtree, I see you have a guest," said the thin man's nasal voice. "This is David Harper, sir. He's wondering about joining the choir," Ian said, as if he was talking to a teacher. "And can you sing, Mr. Harper?" said the man, eyeing me up over the rim of his spectacles. "I don't know, sir," I said, aware of Ian's faint frown glaring at me. "I mean, I've sung at school, sir." There was a repressed wave of giggles. "Well, if you want to be a chorister, you must be sure that you can sing, mustn't you?" "Yes, sir, I suppose I must." I had a nasty feeling where this line of questioning was heading. The thin man reached over and grabbed hold of a book. He flipped it open, looked approvingly at the page it had settled on, and handed it to me. "You can read music, I presume?" "Well, I can read words, sir." "Are you familiar with this hymn?" he said, pointing to the title on the left-hand side. It read, "There is a green hill far away." I knew this one. "We sing this at Easter, sir. I know how the tune goes." "Then please sing the first verse, would you?" "What, now, sir? I'm not even in the choir yet, sir." "And you're not likely to be, if I don't hear you sing. You're not the first to do this. Everyone has to. Now, the first verse, please." So I took a deep breath, swallowed hard, and began. My treble voice broke the quiet of the holy air. It bounced off the pillars and off the decorated roof. I could hear my notes hang within the great walls for long seconds as the words came out shrill and strong. "There is a green hill far away without a city wall, where the dear Lord was crucified, who died to save us all." I listened to the final word "all" echo itself into silence, and then I looked up from my book to see what the thin man would say. The other boys had stopped messing about acting stupid, and even Ian was waiting. "Would you mind singing the second verse, please, when you're ready?" So I filled my lungs once more and sang that I did not know or could not tell what pains he had to bear, but that I believed it was for us he hung and suffered there. I knew the words almost off by heart. They had made an impression on me. I'd never understood how one man dying could save everybody, but it was a nice feeling to be saved anyway. And saved from what? I couldn't say either, though I must have been saved from something pretty bad for the dear Lord to get nailed to a cross to save me from it. The thin man took off his glasses and cleaned them with a cloth taken from the pocket of his gown. "Have you ever been in a choir before, Mr. Harper?" "No, sir." "And you've never had singing tuition?" Tuition? Singing classes? No, sir. Very interesting. See me after practice and we'll get you a probationer's robe. I looked puzzled. I hadn't got a clue what he meant. Ian was smiling at my mystified face. "You're in, stupid," he said, almost laughing. "You're in." The hollow sound of a far-away door latch shot through the church like a prison lock being opened, followed moments later by the voices of men and women. Most of them were clutching books and papers, and each made their way to their seats knowing exactly where they were meant to go. One elderly gentleman made his way to a long seat halfway between two rows of men and unlocked what seemed to be a cabinet. A sliding wooden cover was pushed open, revealing what to me looked like 3 pianos arranged on top of each other. He flicked a switch and I could hear the hum of an engine and the hiss of air. So far, this evening had been full of fascination, but I had not had the half of it. "Right," began the thin man. "I think we're all present. Magnificat to warm up, please." With that, the old chap at the long bench placed his fingers on the piano keyboards and pressed down. A tidal wave of pristine sound boomed out from the pipes above his position. I was awestruck. I wanted to fall on my knees in submission to its might. I was in the midst of a musical beast. And then there came the accompanying host of voices, boys, ladies and men, all singing different tunes overlaid on each other. I had no understanding of harmony. Chords to me had meant rope. But here was beauty entering my ears, powerful beauty that took my heart and flung it to the ceiling to fly on the rapture of this glorious music. "My soul doth magnify the Lord," they sang like a host of angels. They certainly magnified him all right. I spent the next hour transfixed in serene bewilderment. A new language flowed from the assembled as if it had come down from heaven. Words like doxology and descant or crescendo and creed pricked my ears for the first time. The alienation I felt only served to fuel my thirst for what it all meant. And then there was the practice of an anthem. Bit by bit, each section of the choir tried out varying parts of the music. When the men with their deeper voices tried out their part, it seemed so unmusical. The same was true of the ladies as they reached for the highest notes their mature voices could reach. Ian joined in with the other boys, singing more of the proper tune. I watched him concentrate on the booklet he held in both hands, glancing up at the thin man frequently to follow the ballet of his arms. The pianist sat round watching it all, his arms folded. He caught me looking at him, and he smiled back. I wondered how he had ever learned to play 2 pianos at the same time. With a brief pep talk, the thin man raised his arms, and all the voices joined in together. Like some harmonic tapestry, all the parts blended together. How had someone dreamt all this up, I thought. The music acted like a cool breeze inside my mind, and then it stopped, and they had to sing some of it again as one boy was going wrong. He was giving a telling off. The thin man sang it for him, and they were off again. Finally, it was time for the older man to turn round and had the booming sound of his pipes. And oh, what wonder! Majestic. There was no other word for it.